Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into that quiet, kind of uncomfortable feeling of being completely, utterly lost, and, more importantly, how the world's greatest thinkers actually used it to their advantage. We've all been there, right? So, let's use some ancient philosophy to map out exactly what this feeling means and how we can navigate it.
Let's start by tackling that creeping feeling that something is just off. Have you ever felt like you're just moving through your days, going through the motions, but not really living them? It's a hugely frustrating paradox. You might literally have everything you thought you wanted right there on paper, and yet you still feel this unshakable emptiness. Or, hey, maybe you simply don't know what you want at all. That right there, that is the feeling of being lost.
But I want to assure you right off the bat, you are absolutely not alone. It is so incredibly easy to isolate ourselves when we feel aimless. But listen, some of the most brilliant, highly accomplished people in all of human history have felt exactly this same way. It's a universal human experience, not some sort of personal failure.
You see, we usually think of feeling lost as a problem, something that needs to be fixed right away. But ancient philosophers, they saw it completely differently. The absolute first, most crucial mental shift we need to make here is realizing that feeling lost is not a sign that you're broken. It's actually vital information. Think of it like a blinking indicator light on your car's dashboard. It's just telling you that you've been living according to someone else's map and, well, that map just doesn't fit the reality of your actual life anymore.
So, that brings us to Section 1, the wrong map, looking at the ideas of Socrates and Aristotle. Let's start with a rather uncomfortable question Socrates absolutely loved to ask people.
Socrates believed that most people just do what society expects of them, without ever really knowing themselves. Building on that, his student Aristotle gave us this incredibly beautiful concept for the exact opposite state of being. He called it Eudaimonia. It roughly translates to flourishing. It's the feeling of a person who is fully, genuinely, and completely themselves. Think of it as the feeling of aligning your life with your actual innate strengths and moving toward what genuinely matters to you. When you're operating in eudaimonia, you aren't lost at all. You are deeply anchored in your own reality.
Now, it is absolutely critical that we understand what eudaimonia is not. It isn't just fleeting pleasure, because that comes and goes. It isn't empty success that looks amazing from the outside but feels totally hollow on the inside. And it certainly isn't comfort, which, let's be honest, can often turn into a comfortable prison of a life that was designed for someone else entirely. Eudaimonia happens when you finally stop trying to fit into that borrowed life and start building one that fits the actual shape of who you are. Honestly, feeling lost is often just that crucial moment right before you make this transition, when the old map stops working, but you haven't quite found the new one yet.
Which leads us right into Section 2, borrowed values and escaping the herd, driven by the fierce philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche.
Nietzsche observed that people who never take the time to define their own independent values become members of what he called the herd. And the herd moves together, follows the exact same path, and measures success by the exact same standards. It's kind of like everyone chasing the exact same aesthetic lifestyle on social media today. He didn't really mean this as an insult, though, but more as an observation. The herd is often deeply, quietly lost, because living by borrowed values means you're just performing a hollow life rather than truly, authentically living one.
So what's the cure? The ultimate cure for this lostness is simple, but man is it difficult. It's this: become who you are. For Nietzsche, this is the slow, honest, and brave process of discovering your own unique values and actually having the guts to live by them. Not who the herd expects you to be, but who you actually are.
Now, let's pivot to a completely different part of the world with Section 3, mental absence, and explore what we're actually missing when we feel this way.
The Buddhist tradition offers a totally different diagnosis. They suggest we feel lost because we spend an enormous amount of time dwelling in places that literally do not exist. Think about it. We live in the past, which is completely over. We live in the future, which hasn't even arrived yet. Or, my personal favorite, we live in the imagined opinions of others, usually while winning fake arguments in the shower, right? And while our minds are busy visiting all these imaginary places, our actual, real life passes by completely unnoticed and unfelt.
Because of that, the Buddhist solution to feeling lost isn't to go out and find a better map, or even to figure out your grand life purpose. The solution is astonishingly simple. Just come back to the present moment. Come back to this breath, this room, this ordinary Tuesday. You stop feeling lost, not when you magically find the ultimate answer, but when you simply stop being absent from your own daily life.
And what's really amazing is how universal this truth is across different cultures.
The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius echoed this exact same sentiment in his private journals, writing, "Confine yourself to the present." He recognized that a person who is always somewhere else in their mind, always planning, always worrying, always comparing, is never fully here. And if you are never fully here, well, you're always going to feel quietly lost.
Let's move right into our next section, the uncomfortable in-between, which is also known as the void. A lot of philosophers actually agree that feeling lost is a mandatory sign of growth. The ancient philosopher Lao Tzu had a very specific name for this super uncomfortable in-between stage. He called it the void. It is that completely unanchored space between what you used to be and what you are currently becoming. It's kind of like a caterpillar dissolving in a cocoon. There are absolutely no clear landmarks and no familiar identity to hold on to. It's just empty space.
But as Lao Tzu beautifully advised, to the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. He tells us not to fear this emptiness. The biggest mistake we make when we hit the void is panicking and rushing to fill it with the first available distraction, just to relieve the discomfort. Instead, Lao Tzu tells us to inhabit it, patiently, honestly. Just be still in the lostness.
So, as we start to draw this explainer to a close, let's step back and synthesize exactly what all these ancient guides are trying to teach us in our final section, becoming who you are, and the cure for lostness.
So, why do you feel lost? Well, according to the thinkers we've covered today, it usually boils down to one of four traps. You're either living someone else's life based on a borrowed map, you're blindly following the herd with unasked values, you are mentally absent from the present moment, or you're just sitting in the very uncomfortable in-between of the void.
But there is a fifth reason, and it's perhaps the most important one of all. Sometimes you feel lost simply because you are human. Being human literally means carrying around deep, heavy questions without easy answers. Questions like, who am I, and what really matters? These aren't math problems to be solved with a neat little formula. They are profound mysteries that we just have to learn to live with bravely, without pretending we have it all completely figured out.
And the beautiful promise of all these philosophers is this: if you can sit with your lostness without flinching or without running away into endless distractions, you won't necessarily find a fixed, permanent map, but you will find yourself. And that version of you, the honest, searching, breathing version of you, is never truly lost. They are exactly where they need to be.
I want to leave you with one single, powerful reflection today. Ask yourself honestly, is this my life? Not the life you inherited or the one you feel like you have to perform for others. Yours. If a quiet voice inside you says not entirely, please don't panic. Listen to it, because that voice isn't your enemy. It's the start of you finding your way. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Keep questioning, keep growing, and I'll see you next time.